All right, you guys, what is going on? And welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super video. And I am so excited, man. Dragon Ball is back. Dragon Ball is almost officially back. This is going to be a huge month for us. I really wish that this was my first video of the new year, but I'm so excited to bring you guys our very first news and update video surrounding Dragon Ball in the new year 2026. And as we've been talking about for the past couple of months, January 2026 is going to be such a massive month for us. But not just this month, this entire year is slated to be one of the biggest and best comebacks for Dragon Ball of all time. Now, I know we've been in what I like to call a little bit of a Dragon Ball drought over the past couple of years, like the past maybe 2, 3, even 4 years at this point, with the superhero movie that we got back in 2022, I think. Then I think we got Black Frieza in 2023, the indefinite hiatus of the Dragon Ball Super manga in 2024, the passing of Akira Toriyama. It's just been a lot over the past few years, but I think now Dragon Ball is finally gonna make that huge comeback that we've been waiting on, and we're gonna start with everything that we have to look forward to with just this month. Now, like I said a minute ago, it's not just gonna be this month. We have, as you can see on the screen, there is a lot of stuff happening with Dragon Ball just this month period, but the entire year is going to be slated with Dragon Ball content and surprises. This month is going to set the tone for the entirety of 2026 and beyond, in my opinion. So without further ado, let's hop right in. So we're gonna start this video over on X. We are on DBS Hype's account, and he has went ahead and put everything that we have to look forward to for January 2026 in a nice little summarized format right here for us. So we're gonna start off with DBZ Kakarot Daima DLC Part 2, which is set to be released in, I think it's literally just early 2026 right now. There's no official release date for this next Daima DLC for Kakarot. I think I even have the trailer right here, if I'm not mistaken, right? So this is super exciting. 12. Now, I would assume that this is going to be a Q1 DLC since we don't have a release date just yet. What I'm going to do, I'm going to let all of the Daima DLC kind of stack up for Kakarot, and then I'm just going to binge it all at one time. Maybe I'll even stream me playing all of the Daima DLC for Kakarot. I've just been kind of waiting and watching this all come together and build up, right? Like, I'm super excited for this. Kakarot is still like a top 3 best looking Dragon Ball game of all time, in my opinion. Up there with Sparking Zero and up there with Dragon Ball Fighters. Right now, however you want to order that top 3 is up to you, but definitely a top 3 looking best looking Dragon Ball game of all time. So with this DLC being scheduled for early 2026, I'm gonna say Q1. I would assume that the next DLC for, and I think we even get a little sneak peek of Super Saiyan 4 Goku at the end of this DLC, right? We'll have to see in a minute. I think that was this one though.
But I admit your strength is impressive.
So I would assume that part 3 will probably be maybe around summer or the end of summer or something like that. Or it could be a little while after that, who knows?
I'm going to end this now, but don't just roll over.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is easily a top 3 best looking Dragon Ball game of all time, man.
And together, we are the Daima force.
And Daima just makes Daima makes Dragon Ball fun again. Am I the only one that feels like that? Daima just made Dragon Ball fun again. It made you feel like you were back, maybe like watching Dragon Ball Z on Toonami or something like that. It just made the entire thing fun again. Yeah, and there he is. Yep, I knew it. I remembered seeing this. So early 2026 is when we're slated for the DBZ Kakarot Daima DLC Part 2. This is the official trailer for that. This is going to be a Q1 DLC drop, but this isn't the only game that's about to get some big DLC drop and news for this year. Going back to DBS Hype's tweet, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero will be getting, hopefully, their Season 2 DLC announcement. If not at Genki Diamond City, I think we had Battle Hour, what is it, April this year, if I'm not mistaken. I think last year it was in like January or February. This year, I think it's going to be in April. So I'm not really sure. I guess they did that because the Genki Diamond City event was going to be taking up pretty much all of the Dragon Ball bandwidth for like the next month or two. So they went ahead and pushed out Battle Hour. I'm guessing that's why they did it. But when it comes to the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero new DLC announcement, I could literally go on for the next 30 minutes talking about this, but I'm gonna try and not ramble on. Gonna try and keep it short and simple and tell you guys my expectations for this so we can get on with the rest of the video. When it comes to the Sparking Zero New Diamond DLC, I've said this in plenty of videos before when referencing season 2. I think that the one fatal mistake that they could make when it comes to Sparking Zero is focusing too much on DLC characters. I think there's so much more that they need to focus on when it comes to Sparking Zero to kind of revitalize the player base, that they have to do this right. Now, I think the number one thing that they really need to focus on is offline content for players. We have Legendary Warrior Face-Off that comes back, what, like every 2 months or something like that, which is cool. Legendary Warrior Face-Off is cool for like a day, and then it's just whatever. They need to add more offline content for people. I think adding more episode battles, whether that just be more characters in the episode battle mode or even more episode battle what ifs, which would probably take a lot more work, but I think like that would be cool as well. Anything dealing with episode battles would be cool. I thought that that would be a part of the DLC that we would get in the future anyway, but as we saw last year, we barely got any offline content for Sparking Zero, so that was kind of tough to deal with. I think in the very first, the Hero of Justice Pack DLC, which was the first DLC for Sparking Zero, the one with Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo, we got the custom battle that was the fight between Ultra Instinct Goku and Beast Gohan, which was pretty cool to see, but that was pretty much it. We got that, and I think we got the customization, the Red Ribbon Army costume for Piccolo. And outside of that, I think I'm missing something else as well. There was one more thing we got. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. I remember the graphic for the Hero of Justice Pack DLC though. So I know it was the Piccolo customization. It was the custom battle with UI Goku and Beast Gohan. And it was something else as well. You guys will have to help me out down below in the comments. But as far as, you know, things other than DLC characters, that was it for season 1. Well, in part 3 of season 1 DLC, we got the Demon World map, which I don't know why it took over a year for us to get a new stage for Sparking Zero. That in itself is like asinine to me, right? I'm sure you guys feel the same way. We got one new stage in over a year of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. They definitely need to be more, I would say, prepared for things like that to come up, because maybe we don't get a new stage in every single DLC pack, which I feel like we should, but maybe we don't, right? As long as they focus on offline content, as long as they focus on more customizations, which is something that we were promised before this game even came out. And I say that in every single Sparking Zero update video that we do, talking about season 2 DLC, of course. We were promised customizations that were gonna blow all the other Dragon Ball games, except for like Xenoverse, right, out of the water. Never got that. This game actually lacks customization so much that I feel like they just straight up lied to us at a certain point. So hopefully they rectify that in a potential season 2 DLC. More offline content. They did say, you know, around the time the game came out, a little bit beforehand, that they were going to be working on crossplay for us. Now, that doesn't necessarily have to be a part of the DLC. That can just be some random update patch later on down the line. But they do need to address that as well, because these are things that I never forgot about. I will keep bringing up all of these things that they promised us before the game came out until I'm blue in the face, right? Like, y'all aren't just gonna, y'all aren't gonna scam me like that. I remember all of these promises, and I'm gonna keep reiterating those things to you guys as well, so we can keep these things fresh in their ears. Crossplay was promised to us. Customizations that are just out of this world were promised to us. Offline content wasn't exactly promised, but that's something I'm gonna advocate for, because that'll bring a lot of players back to the game. We need a lot more than Legendary Face-Off. And I guess, you know, the last thing would be the DLC characters, right? We can circle back around to that. Now, in my opinion, since we're pretty much caught up with Dragon Ball content when it comes to Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, we have pretty much everybody, right? Except for some of those obscure characters like Super 17, Ice and Nova Shenron, Demon King Piccolo, General Tao, some OG Dragon Ball characters, King Vegeta, if you guys care about him at all. These are all characters. Now, I'm not sure that they're all DLC worthy unless they just pack a lot of these characters into one section of DLC. Like if they did like 10 OG Dragon Ball characters, sure, I feel like that's worth paying for, right? But if they just did like Demon King Piccolo, General Tao, who else? Like, I don't even know at this point. Like Arale, sure, but I don't think I could see myself spending money on just that. Now, when it comes to another GT pack with Super 17, Ice, and Nova Shenron, maybe they do Legic, maybe they do Rildo, I would pay for that, but that's just because I'm a GT fanboy. A lot of these other sections of Dragon Ball, a lot of these other Dragon Ball series that they could pull characters from, I don't know if they're characters that are necessarily hype enough for people to want to spend on, right? Like for OG Dragon Ball, Demon King Piccolo could be like the face of the pack. Outside of that, I'm not really sure what you do for characters from there on out, but There's other sects of Dragon Ball where they could bring characters from. Again, I just don't know how well that they're gonna sell. So I'm not gonna rant too much on Sparking Zero. We could do a whole entire video talking about that. I feel like we've already been talking about that for the majority of the video. So let's move on to Genki Diamond City. This is what you guys are here for, and this is gonna be the main thing that I want to talk about today. So when it comes to Dragon Ball Genki Diamond City, we have a lot that we could speculate on. I want to kind of try and temper my expectations, but I'm just gonna tell you guys the real. We've done videos on this already before. I've told you guys pretty much what I'm expecting, what I'm anticipating for this event. We have 2 exclusive announcements. We have a part 1 and a part 2 for this event. We have a new game announcement. We have weekly Dragon Ball news on-site edition, which I feel like this one could be something. We'll get to that in a minute. And then obviously the mobile games are going to get their own stage here too. So let's start with the exclusive announcements. Now, like I said in all of my previous videos on Genki Diamond City, these 2 exclusive announcements, I think this is going to be, honestly, this could be both of what I'm hoping for, but it could just be more of one of these things. And I'll go ahead and explain, right? So what I'm initially hoping for, in a perfect world, we get the Dragon Ball Super anime returning, and we get an announcement on a new Dragon Ball movie as well. Now, the thing is, me personally, I really want the moral arc to be in movie format, but if the Dragon Ball Super anime returns and it picks up where we left off, well, the Galactic Patrol Prisoner Saga was right after the Tournament of Power, so that is where we would have to pick up at if the Dragon Ball Super anime came back. Now, that would mean that whatever Dragon Ball movie that could potentially get announced here is going to be something totally different, right? Something totally new. Maybe it's a backstory on a particular character. Maybe it's a new villain or something, something completely uncanny. Who knows, right? It could be, who knows? I won't even speculate on what a potential movie could look like if it's not the moral arc. It could literally be anything, right? So my hopes are, and I'll go back again and I'll even say this. If we don't get the return of the Dragon Ball Super anime, this could be a movie announcement for the moral arc and another movie announcement for something completely different. So we could be getting 2 movies announced here if the Super anime doesn't come back, and we're just, the sky is the limit from there, right? So I'll go over here to the Genki Diamond City stage information. So for part 1 of the exclusive announcement stage, these are going to be our speakers for part 1. This is big right here. Nozawa and Iyoku are going to be our guest speakers for part 1, the voice of Goku and the executive producer of Dragon Ball Super. This doesn't necessarily mean that we could be getting the anime in one of these announcements or a movie or anything like that, but I do feel like it will probably be at least one of those, right? And this is like the best evidence we have as of right now. This isn't guaranteeing anything, but this is the best evidence that we have for right now. But when I go to the exclusive announcement part 2, and we'll go back to the new game announcement and Genki Dai stage right here in a second. For part 2, and I feel like this is the best evidence that we have that it's going to be some type of animated production, right? Gonna be Nozawa and Iyoku again for part 2, gonna be our part 2 speakers, but it says and more right here. Now, in my opinion, this and more means that there's gonna be other voice actors coming out, maybe other producers, things like that, but I would assume that it's gonna be other voice actors, and to me, that means that there's gonna be some type of animated project getting announced just because of that in itself. Like, they would bring out the voice of they bring out the voice of Vegeta, they bring out the voice of Gohan or something like that, Krillin or whatever. Again, this isn't confirmation of anything, but I feel like this is our best evidence yet that there will be some type of animated production being announced at this event later on this month, just because of this and more, right? Literally just because of and more. I could be grasping at straws, but I feel like you guys get what I'm saying, right? So I don't want to get too hung up on that because we don't have any information on that. Now, the one thing that I will go to next, we'll talk about the game announcement in a second, weekly Dragon Ball news on-site edition. So as you guys know, this is going to be our Saikyo Jump twins right here, Victory Uchida and Asada. I feel like at this panel, maybe this is where they talk about the Dragon Ball Super manga. Even if they don't announce the return of it or give a date for when it could return, maybe this gets announced right here. And also this and more, Toyotaro could pop up at any time during this event. If Toyotaro walks out during any time during this event, I don't know. I might scream. Toyotaro comes out, I feel like that is our I don't know what to call it. I feel like that is a good sign right there that the Dragon Ball Super manga is at least coming down the pipeline at some point this year. Right now, maybe he still isn't able to talk about it too much because of whatever's going on in the background with the entire Dragon Ball franchise. But if we're getting some type of animated production getting announced this year, I feel like the Dragon Ball Super manga isn't a long shot to, you know, at least get addressed during this event, right? So what I have my hopes up for this event, we'll just go down this again. Part 1 and Part 2 exclusive announcements. If it's not the moral arc in the anime and then a movie announcement, it could be 2 movies, one being the moral arc in movie format, and then another movie, God knows what that could be. It could be, like I said, some type of backstory for somebody, like they did, or it could be like making a character canon or something like that. Like, imagine if a Dragon Ball Super Cooler movie gets made, I would lose my shit. If a Dragon Ball Super Cooler movie got announced and then we got the moral arc in movie format as well, oh my, bro, I don't know what I would do with myself. But again, I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. I don't know anything. I'm just saying what I would potentially want, okay? So exclusive announcements 1 and 2, a Dragon Ball Super anime and a movie, or 2 movies. Weekly Dragon Ball news on Side Edition. Hopefully they at least mention the Dragon Ball Super manga to some capacity. I would love to see Toyotaro come out during one of these segments and say literally anything. He could say Happy New Year and I would lose my shit for all I care. Now, when it comes to the new game announcement, this one, I still feel like, in my opinion, you know, I've seen other people speculate what this new game announcement could be. I still feel like it's a pretty good chance that it's going to be Xenoverse 3, or maybe they don't even call it Xenoverse 3 this time around. Maybe they changed the name, but it's still a part of that Xenoverse, you know, timeline or whatever, that whole series. I've seen people speculate, and since we know other things right now, I think that some of these other speculations are pretty much dead. I've seen people speculate that it could be Kakarot 2, which, I mean, we're not even done with the Daima DLC for Kakarot 1 as of right now, and there's still other DLC for Kakarot that hasn't been done yet. So I really don't think that's the case. I mean, they could make they could make Dragon Ball Super Kakarot. Who knows? Maybe I could be wrong about that. If it's Dragon Ball Super Kakarot, that would be hard. I'm not opposed to that. That would be sick as hell. But I don't know about that as of right now. We still have this guy coming up for Dragon Ball Fighters later on this year, which this was a surprise. I couldn't believe that they did this. Still to this day, I couldn't believe that they did this. Super Saiyan 4 Daima Goku in Dragon Ball Fighters. Are you freaking serious? But that pretty much just tells me that the speculation of this maybe being Dragon Ball Fighters 2 is probably wrong as well. See, the thing is, if Marvel Tokon Souls wasn't, you know, if that wasn't a thing, and Arxis was just kind of in limbo as well, and things weren't thinking between them, and anyway, if Marvel Tokon Souls wasn't a thing, I would be all on board for Dragon Ball Fighters 2. But since they're working on Marvel right now, I don't think that's happening for a good while, if ever, right? And at least they're giving us the DLC for Super Saiyan 4 Daima Goku. Like, when's the last time we got a DLC for Dragon Ball Fighters? Like 2022, 2021, something like that? Maybe 2022. I feel like that was probably the last DLC. What was it? Lab Coat 21? So at least, you know, 3-4 years later, they're giving us one other character. I wish he was coming in a DLC pack with like Beast Gohan, Orange Piccolo, things like that. But it is what it is, right? So this is gonna be pretty much the lineup for everything that I'm expecting for this month in Dragon Ball news, exclusive announcements, Dragon Ball games DLC. Oh, and we can't forget about Dokkan, Legends, and Genshin Squadron having their own stage. Season 3 of Dragon Ball Genshin Squadron should be getting announced here, maybe like in the next week or something like that. I think it's already been almost 2 weeks. It's been a week since Broly came out. So in the next week, we should probably be getting the Squadron Talk Season 3 trailer. Then we're going to be knowing the new characters for this upcoming season. They're going to be redoing some things within the game. Squadra is in a good place, in my opinion. People might not like the gameplay, but I feel like every single character that comes out, even though I feel like they're a little bit too strong, every single character gets stronger than the last, but it completely changes the game, kind of keeps it fresh. Might be a little annoying, but it is what it is, right? There's some things that they could change around characters being pay to play. I would really like to see the trial hero ticket system be implemented. We talked about that in past Squadra videos. If you guys want to hear more about that, definitely be sure to go check out some of my last Squadra update videos. Dokkan and Legends mobile gacha games never going anywhere. But that is going to do it for the entire Dragon Ball update for the month of January 2026. Like I said, this is going to set the tone for the rest of, I feel like, this decade for Dragon Ball, right? Even if all of this stuff doesn't necessarily happen this year, the fact that it's getting announced and the fact that they're trying to revitalize Dragon Ball to this extent, I'm excited for what this franchise has for us from here until 2030, right? We have a lot to look forward to, guys. It's never been a better time to be a Dragon Ball fan. I know we were in a drought, but boy, that we're making a comeback this year. But anyways, fellas, let me know what you think down below in the comment section. I've been so excited for this video. I know you guys can probably hear it in my voice. When it comes to Dragon Ball, I could yap all day, but I feel like that's good enough for this one. Once we get more information, you guys will know where to find me. I'll have it here as always. But anyways, fellas, let me know what you think down below in the comments. Have a great day. Once again, Happy New Year, everybody. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, my boys.